about aliens because I think that's just kind of an interesting topic. Kind of spice things up. We're already an hour and a half in, but what is like the latest like alien stories that you're kind of like into right now? Obviously, we had like the was it last year, Chris, that they had the Senate hearing and oh my God, I
Yeah,
just forgot his name.
Oh,
Yeah,
Grush.
thank you.
Grush.
Yes,
Yeah, David
yes, yes,
Grush.
yes. Yeah, David Grush. That was last year, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, it feels like there was so much like like info dump that happened for those couple
Yes.
months, and then I feel like there's been nothing happening,
Yeah.
and it also just depends on like where you're looking to, because I feel like there's been like weird adjacent things that have been happening that if you really try to pull hard enough, you can pull the string on whether or not that's alien involvement or not.
Was it in
There was
Brazil
like
or something? It was like
no,
Brazil.
Jetpacks.
Yeah, the jetpack
oh
predator,
Alien jetpack.
invisible predator guys or something.
yeah, that one, and then like the weather anomaly that was off the coast of Africa. I don't know if you saw that. Like they
Yeah,
were just like it was just like this like scan of this giant thing off the coast of like Africa, like on the east coast of Africa or west coast of Africa, and everyone's just like, don't know what that is, and they were like freaking out as to like what it could be, and they were like, it turns out it was just like what like waves, I guess, or something. I don't know, but like people were kind of like speculating that it was like that whole like DARPA thing where they like can control the weather,
oh
and that like
yeah.
that maybe it was like them testing some sort of like weather device, but it like I can't remember what the fuck it was, but like people were also being like, "Oh, is that a mothership, an alien mothership, like under the water?"
I
What's
mean, of course,
that
people are
footage where it
curious.
was it was that footage where it was like blue light from the water, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah, no, that was something else. But
Oh,
yeah, that was I fell down that rabbit hole on Reddit
yeah.
for like a
I'm on
couple
Reddit a lot.
days.
I'm assuming you're on
People were
R
talking.
aliens and R UFOs. What else is there? Because those are the two I have. Um,
High
did you
strangeness.
did you guys? Because like
Yeah.
I once I saw this specific like story, like I just kept reading, and I don't even care if it was fan fiction because like I mean like again like we like wrestling, so like you kind of like you lose your suspension of disbelief or whatever. There was this 4chan uh, story from this one guy who apparently was dying of cancer or whatever, and he was working at this, or they,
Classic.
and they were working at this, yeah, exactly. This specific area. I don't know what it was of the specific government, but this guy was breaking down the studies of like these alien bodies, and like he went into super detail,
It was like a
the
biotech
biology
lab.
the biology that there are parts of the government that were like I don't know if it was the Bermuda Triangle, but like there is an area in the ocean that the government already knows that they approach this area, and like they've had people like get like disintegrated or what like
Nice.
whatever
Yeah.
it was. But like they he was talking about like the biology of like these creatures, and it was very scientific. I'm about to be like super Joe Rogan right now, but like super like just very
Boom.
well no like the biology he was giving me, like they were giving me the like the type of blood, the makeup and all that kind of stuff, and like the biology of like the thing that they got. And there were like multiple screenshots. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but like I'll definitely send it to you. But I was like reading it like 1 a.m. I didn't stop reading until like 2 in the morning because
Dang.
it was like screenshots of like it just seemed super real because he was coming it from like a scientific perspective.
Yeah. No, I've never
I
seen
don't
that.
know. Yeah,
I
I'll
did see
DM you
some
guys it.
I did see something where like people were talking about the idea that like the classic like gray aliens that we always see,
Yeah.
um that they may potentially just be like biological like drones,
Yeah.
in the sense that they're made from like biological material, but like they don't have like stomachs and stuff. Like they don't like they breathe, but like they're only designed to like survive for so long. And it's like
Hmm.
these ships that come down that like are visiting Earth or whatever, like, and this is what people are seeing. Like, why would you send yourself, or
Right.
like wherever they're coming from? Like, it could take, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years to even get here. So they have these like biological drones that are essentially like created like beings that like can pilot the vehicles and stuff. Because there was like a story from someone like that was like in CIA that like there was like just during Vietnam, I think that there was like a lot of like activity happening there, and there was like a craft that like came down that crashed, and they investigated the crash site, and they went inside this like vehicle, and there was like a bunch of them just kind of like standing around, and they were able to like walk over and like touch them and stuff, and like they just grabbed them by the hand and walked them right out of the vehicle,
The
and they said they
drone,
just yeah
aliens.
They're like, all right, this
You
way,
gotta send me
sir.
that shit because I haven't read that one.
That's awesome. It's
yeah it
like,
was insane.
this is way out. Great. Well, what got you into it? That's a good question. Is how'd you even start like getting into this kind of shit?
I mean, I've always been like a fan of like just mysteries and like science fiction for sure. And I just have more it's more of a fascination with like space than it is with like aliens specifically.
Mm.
Um, I'm just like the idea that like it's insane sometimes when you think about it. Like if you've ever been like on top of a really tall building or like in a plane and just looking down and seeing how just vast and wide and like huge our world is. And then to think that like just beyond it there is so much more that is like it's just infinitely large, and there's so much just beyond our own planet, and we'll never probably never ever be able to see it in person, and it's like it kills me. And I'm like that like it's just fascinating to me like that there is other planets and stuff like that.
It's very humbling, I think. It's one of those things, I think, at least for me personally, that when you think about it, a lot of these like problems that we experience, they just feel insignificant. And a lot of times if I'm experiencing something or like I'm stressed about something, I'll just kind of think about the state of everything and just be like, well, yeah, this shit doesn't really matter, I guess. Like that kind of a thought.
Literally, and I try to tell people that all the time, like the guys at work a lot when they get pissed off about some shit. Or like they'll be talking shit about like whatever is going on, and I'm just like, dude, I was like, be mad about shit that's worth being mad about. Like, don't be mad about this like trivial bullshit. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and like you said, like it is very humbling, and just like I don't want to say how insignificant we are,
Yeah.
but like the to kind of think about like that like being like rude to people and stuff. I'm like, why like people that are like really shitty and just think that they're like so important, and I'm just like, you are like the tiniest blip on the the human like existence. Like why do you feel like that your existence is so much more important than mine or like somebody else's? And you know like 10, 20, 100,000 years from now, like no one's going to even know any of us existed probably.
Right.
And like, so it's like, it's nice to kind of think about like, enjoy life while it is. And like, don't take for granted, like, like your life and your importance. Because like, I think of it as like, if it's important to me, then it's important to me. And that's okay if it's not important to like somebody else, as long as it's important to me. Um, as far as like things that I like, you know, like like I always try to think of like uh when I was growing up, I used to like not like to talk about like the stuff that I was into because like, oh, like you just get made fun of for liking, you know, comic book stuff or like wrestling or, you know, space and stuff. They'd be like, oh, what are you, some sort of fucking nerd? Not really, but like, but that was kind of like how it was growing up. Like people are, you know, kids like to make fun of people that like weird things, and but if it matters to you, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
That was a weird turnabout. That
No, I
sorry.
like that. I'm glad it went that direction because it's something that everybody can kind of relate to and they can use. Like if they just hear that, they're like, he's right. I mean, that's great. I like that.
I mean, you hear about like these, I mean, like even in your personal lives, and you hear about all these like kind of stories, like even like wrestling dirt sheets and that kind of stuff, if we want to tie it back into wrestling and that kind of stuff. Yeah, like a lot of things that you like it like it's a lot of energy to get super angry and upset over specific things. And I feel like there's more to life than just like getting upset over something super superficial, I guess, for lack of a better word. Where
It's a waste of
yeah.
energy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of like how I approach like situations. If I get in an argument, if I'm dealing with a situation like Chris mentioned, you kind of like you take a step back and then you kind of like reassess the situation. But like I've also kind of conditioned myself to not be because like I know when I was younger I was getting like upset or like people like focus on things and people like even my age like still do about like acceptance and like social media is a big thing for a lot of people for whatever reason like for like WWE and AEW wrestlers it seems like a lot of people like they focus their energy on like what people say on Twitter and X and that kind of stuff and I'm like I like take a step back like it's you have to realize like what the percentages of people on that platform are and think about like how big of your audience is and even think about bigger than that like your life and all that kind of stuff like I wouldn't like stress out over those kinds of things. Obviously, it's easy for me to say. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not in the public eye. But like I like for me personally, like I approach that in my own life in that way, and I think like I would approach that if I end up being in the public eye. You know what I mean? Like it is a waste of energy. Like you're stressing over like anime avatars who are like talking shit on Twitter, or pictures of
Yeah,
dogs who are racist. I don't know.
it's just like when I realized that, like when the light bulb finally went off in my head, where I'm just like, oh, these aren't real people. Like they are
Yeah,
real people, but like their
they're not.
opinions are not real.
But some might be bots as well. Some might be actual just
That's
bots.
true.
Dead
But that's the
internet
thing
theory.
is like when I love, oh yeah, I believe in that for sure.
Partially.
What simulation theory?
I love
No,
fucking
a
with
dead
people,
internet
so
theory.
Oh,
Simulation theory. Well, you know what? We'll come back. We'll do like we'll expand our wrestling podcast to like conspiracy
cryptoids.
theory. Conspiracy
Yes,
cast.
theology.
and cryptids.
Because
That'd
I
be
could go
great.
for an hour about I went to a Bigfoot museum, but that's a whole other story. But you were saying
What was I saying?
I don't know. I just mentioned Bigfoot, and I guess we were
Oh
talking
no.
about like Twitter and X and stuff, and then you learned that
Oh yeah, they're not real people, and
yeah,
like, so it's like it's much easier to kind of just block that out and just be like, or I like messing with people when they're like, when I post something and somebody will say something like really shitty or mean or and I'll be like, all right, like I usually like thank them and just be like, hey, thanks for that perspective, man,
yeah.
and they're just like, oh,
Ah,
Eh,
fuming.
I didn't I didn't get the reaction I wanted.
Right.
That's my approach: is kill them with kindness. You say thank you or I appreciate your perspective because they expect some kind of like the response that most people would probably do is anger or being upset or whatever. So I definitely agree with that. Um, So we are approaching near the end, so I kind of want to wrap this up, and I want to ask you one final question that kind of ties in back to wrestling. Um, So you are a wrestler, you are a promoter, you have been in the wrestling business for the past decade plus. What do you want your legacy to be in the world of professional wrestling? If you had to sum everything up, if you had to think of something, what do you want your legacy to be?
Um, I think I think I would like to just be remembered as someone that gave people opportunity, um, and cultivated an environment that was both fun and welcoming for people to come and enjoy, and that people will look back on that fondly, I guess.
That's awesome. And I think, and you're doing like well, we just started, or I just started watching you at Freelance this year. But what you've been doing has been amazing, and it really feels like when you're in there, like I see people who have been there quite a while. Like there's like this cult, like this Chicago indie wrestling culture that you feel when you go into the building. You know, the wrestlers that you have on the show, the audience members, people like since we've been there a number of times, you see like people you've seen before in the audience, and it feels like again like a community. And I get you can apply that to a lot of different aspects of life, but what you um, created with freelance wrestling has been amazing, and I do want to keep going and seeing your shows because like I don't know how you balance pro wrestling tees, promoting a show, training academy, a relationship, pets, and a podcast, and all those kinds of things. I tip my hat off to you, my friend. Um, and yeah, really thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. This is our first interview with a person, so we're really honored for you to be our first
Woo!
person to
The
be
man, goat.
interviewed. You are the GOAT, and I really want you to be back for, you know what, like just other things like WWE and AEW topics, just kind of like being additional talking head because listening, because like I was like researching you and listening to your podcast leading up to this interview. So just kind of,
Oh no.
well, just kind of like
Oh
listen,
no.
well, positive things, just kind of like listening to your conversations. You're very insightful, and he talks about being like quiet and that kind of stuff, but like you say a lot like in your podcast, and you're very, you talk a certain way where like it's very insightful, I guess, for lack of a better word. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And that's a wrap for this episode of Chi-Town Shoot Podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, and leave a feedback. Tune in next time for more wrestling madness. Until then, keep marking out.